Okay, so
Let's go.
hi everyone. Thanks for joining us
Hi.
for our very first webinar.
Mm.
Tonight we will talk about opportunities during this pandemic. So essentially, we would like to share 5 key things, 3 sectors, and then 2 areas that we are looking at. Also, we will talk about investment strategies and then what are the ideas that we have. So first, let me introduce ourselves. So let me introduce Dominic. Dominic is a financial consultant. He's a manual therapist. He's also a personal trainer, and he manages his clients' health and wealth. So one of the things about Dom is he actually uses one term a lot. He uses health is wealth. So Dom, if you don't mind, you can share with us why you use that so often.
Okay. So I think this must draw back to about six to 7 years ago. I almost lost my life and due to accident. And then after the accident, I managed to regain my consciousness about after 2 days. And then after that, I lost my eyesight for I think 6 months. Yeah, for about 6 months. So because of all this, right, I don't want my client to go through the same suffering as I did to, or my friends to go through the same suffering. That's why I say, actually, health is wealth. But it works both ways too.
Oh yeah, Dom's a music bro.
Yeah, wealth is also health. Sorry
guys.
Okay, sorry. So yeah, where am I? Okay, so I'm saying that wealth is also health because as you know, medical care, the cost of the medical care can be quite high. And if I can afford to be under specialist care, right, I believe that I can recover faster. So now let me introduce Alastair. He's a financial consultant that specializes in wealth management. So he has been in this industry for over a decade now.
Yeah. About that, yeah.
So Alastair, we have not met in a while. I think face to face at least.
Yeah. Correct.
So I believe everyone is curious. What are your thoughts on the current situation?
Yeah, so there's 2 segments that I would like to share. Will be firstly Singapore. I think in Singapore's perspective, the situation is, I think the government has done very well. And I think all of us have done our part. So we have stayed at home, we didn't go out as much, and then we made these circuit breaker measures a little bit more effective. I'm sure we'll be out of it soon now, which is what it looks like. In a global perspective, I think many countries are starting to lift lockdowns. So Europe, as an example, is they've already started lifting lockdowns as of like early this month, and there's already news of traffic jams in Europe. So, but the impact of this lifting of this lockdown, whether it be a good idea, we don't really know. Yeah. So for yourself, Dom, how has this circuit breaker affected you?
I think I won't say it's affecting me, but I think I've been quite busy during this circuit breaker. So this circuit breaker is that it gave me an opportunity to become a teacher. So I need to supervise the kids on their HBL. Secondly, I become like a chef or a barista to attempt to try all the online recipes like dalgona coffee or taco stuff like that. Then with my having a luxury of time right now, I go back to my workout regime. So exercising about 4 to 5 times a week. Then on that, I also collaborated with a dance school to provide a series of body conditioning workout for their students locally and in Cambodia. So I also have been attending seminars and investment updates hosted by our partners, and also coaching session with my mentors. That's why with that, I think I can able to better advise my clients with up-to-date investment information, and so do policy reviews, ensuring that our objective is still aligned.
Okay, you are definitely busier than me at this moment. But I've heard a lot about the HBL and stuff, so I think it's tough.
Crazy.
And everybody is learning.
Yeah. So, okay, by the way, you mentioned just now about countries being easing lockdown.
Yeah.
What are the impacts to the market?
Yeah, so one of the research that I read from iFast, who is our partner, showed us different stages at which countries are at for this pandemic. So for example, let's say China, I'll put China is at the late stage of this pandemic. And then also other articles that I read, there are countries like Taiwan, Thailand, and South Korea who are actually doing very well in terms of handling this pandemic. So these are the countries that, in my opinion, we should look at for opportunities. However, the impact of this pandemic to our economy and even these companies, even these countries and their economy is relatively unknown. It is likely to happen. What is likely to happen is that their economies will be strangled down. And even though you see the market going up, right, but the market is actually a forward forecast of the economies. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So if the economy is still strangled down, should we be concerned?
Yeah, so this is something that I've looked at, and I think that we should have some concern, like not like going crazy over it and then be so worried about it. There must be some concern, but thankfully our governments and governments globally, they don't just stand by and then they just wait for nothing to happen. So something that I sent out earlier today, the $5 trillion, actually this $5 trillion that I sent out earlier today is set aside by the G20 nations governments. So this $5 trillion is actually to help ease the impact of the pandemic. Yeah.
If only this $5 trillion will be put in the market immediately.
Yeah, and preferably our pockets.
Yeah.
But not all of it. That's not how it's supposed to work. So this $5 trillion that has been set aside by all these governments, right? The intention is to release it slowly into the economy, batch by batch. So like, let's say for Singapore, the closest thing that we can think of is giving us the $600. Like all Singaporeans will get $600, parents will get $900. So you will not see an impact per se, but you will see an ease of impact from this pandemic. Yeah, the intention is not to just throw everything to the market. It won't help anyway because the GDP is huge. Yeah.
I agree. So for our investments, from what I know, right, the investment relies heavily on emotions and behavior. Like what Michael Christian said, all human behavior has a reason, and all behavior is to solve a problem.
Yeah. So in case everybody is wondering why we picked this quote, it's because Michael Christian is an author and filmmaker. He is more famous for writing Jurassic Park. So if you have watched Jurassic Park, it's written by this guy. Yeah. So why we are talking about behavior today is because behavior at this current situation, this has caused a lot of disruption in our lives. Yeah. So it has affected our lifestyle, it has affected our career, and even governments on how they function. So the use of technology has also changed. Yeah. So that has led us to, I would believe, the biggest digital transformation in everything, in businesses, whether small or big. Yeah.
So what exactly is digital transformation?
Yeah, so during our circuit breaker, so the closest thing that we can link to is Singapore. So for example, circuit breaker, technology has allowed businesses to continue moving forward. They are not just stuck. So even after all these dust have settled, right, my belief is that businesses will continue to use technologies as part of their business, or if not, become a core of their business. Yeah. So in our lifestyle and in career, and I believe in the far future, we cannot escape from technology. It will continue to play a very important part. I'll mention a few companies that I believe we should look at and have some focus on will be like Facebook, Microsoft, Apple. These are the companies that already dominate our lives to most extent. If you know about Facebook, they own Instagram, they own WhatsApp. They are there, so you can't really run away from them. Unless you tell me you're not on social network, then maybe you can escape from them. Another company that I was looking at is Microsoft. So as long as businesses are still running, generally they use Microsoft, unless you're a designing firm, which I think they also use some Microsoft products, whether it be Excel, whether it be PowerPoint, Microsoft Word, or if you use Windows, then you're definitely with them. Then of course Apple being such a big brand name, people use their smartphones, people use their tablets, people use iMac, things like that. Yeah, so I think they'll continue to dominate this space. Yeah, so one of the exciting technologies that I would like to share is 5G. So a lot of people don't know that where 5G is from. So 5G is actually from China, or from a company called Huawei. they own majority of the patents. Not exactly as they own the technology, but they own majority of the patents. And why I think it's exciting is because 5G will change a lot of things. 5G is actually 20 times faster than 4G, in case you don't know. So last time, maybe we download a movie, it will take an hour, 2 hours. But on 5G, a high quality movie, Blu-ray movie, only takes 2 minutes. Yeah, and also why I think it's exciting is because in Singapore, right, we will have 5G network on half of our island by end 2022. Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, I read that on the news. The three telecom are working together to set a 5G network in Singapore. So with what you have shared, right, I also found a research article by CDC on 4th of May. So the CDC researcher suggests that the COVID-19 outbreak will not end until 60 to 70% of the human population is immune to the virus, which will take roughly about 18 to 24 months. And if that is true, then the technology will continue to be a big factor to us. Like we will be zooming more often. And then, so we believe that the technology sector is a good opportunity for us.
Yeah,
and we mentioned earlier on the 3 key factors.
Yeah, 3 key sectors, yeah. Correct.
So what are the other 2?
Yeah, so like we mentioned earlier, we talked about behaviors. So one of the behaviors that will definitely change is on payment services. So payment services, in my opinion, will be another opportunity. So payment services, there are companies like MasterCard, there are Visa. Then in China, that I mentioned earlier, will be like Alipay or WeChat Pay. Yeah. So all these rides on technology. So whether you like it or not, you're going to be a part of technology. So that will be part of the behavioral change. So as we start purchasing goods or even services online, so like for example, we use Grab now. Or most of us use Grab to purchase goods and services. So what are the goods? So if you like order food, so those are the goods. The service is the delivery guy coming to you. Yeah. So payment services is you keying in your credit card details to make a payment, or whether be on an app or whether be on a website. It makes, if it's not comfortable now for you to key in those things, if it's not your normal now, you will soon be because you don't have a choice. Yeah, you really don't have a choice. Yeah, so for Dom, for yourself, now we talk about payment services. For yourself, what payment services have you been using?
For me, recently I went to do grocery shopping. So a bit swaku. When I went to NTUC, there's something called a scan and go system. So I didn't know it's actually implemented quite a while ago. Only until like recently they extend their scan and go system to more outlets. So this scan and go system is actually to help shoppers like us to purchase things, right? And we just shop and scan their item concurrently instead of doing it at the counter, wait for new queue for the cashier and stuff like that. So with the current situation, like this system, right, not only bring convenience to buyers, but also there's some crowd control within it also. So it helps to reduce the interaction between humans. So so let's share on the next sector lah. Next sector is on the
So let me share that part. So technology and payment services that we are using, right, requires something that is invisible to all of us, something that we don't see one, but very important. It's called energy. So energy is another sector that I believe has a lot of opportunities. So as the increase of technology that we use, so let's say for example your laptop, your phone, your tablets, the TV and everything, anything that help make your life easier that runs on technology requires electricity, requires energy to perform. Yeah. So the more dependent we are on technology, the more energy we need. Yeah.
So like I think 2 days ago, I saw the news reported that there's an increase on the electricity consumption. So each household was shown about there's a 30% spike on their electricity bill. So does it mean that we have been using more energy since we've been like maybe owning aircon for switching on aircon for 24/7 or stuff like that?
So my aircon is on now, as you mentioned. So it is not exactly true that although our bills are rising, which means we use more electricity at home and things like that, we don't actually use as much electricity as compared to, let's say, a commercial building or let's say an industrial environment. we don't actually use that much. If you think through it properly, step by step, is when you leave home, right, for work last time, when we had our freedoms, we don't off everything. Like, do you off everything now? Do you off your fridge?
Except my
example?
router or fridge or stuff like that.
Yeah, so things that you will remain on, but they don't actually use a lot of electricity. Whereas if you think about your office, for example, do they off the cameras? Do they off the doors, the way people scan entry into the building? Like, all these things run a lot. Definitely more than your house. Yeah, definitely more than the houses that exist. So if you think about it, they don't actually use more per se. Yeah, in relative terms. Yeah, so I would like to elaborate a little bit further on the energy sector. Yeah, so there are companies that I'm looking at in terms of opportunity, more direct to sustainable energy, which is what I like to look at. Companies like Schneider Electric, they are in Singapore actually. NextEra Energy, they are not in Singapore, they are in Italy. These are companies that are in the sustainable energy sectors. So they use solar, or they use wind, or they use sea waves to produce energy. Yeah. So another two companies that caught my eye was Shell and BP. I know all of us tend to link Shell with petrol. Yeah, how we use it. But actually, they do a lot more things than that. So in the recent decade, they actually have started purchasing companies that produce sustainable energy. Yeah. So which is why I think they're exciting to look at.
So we have covered the 5 things so far. The 3 sectors, which are the technology, the payment services, and also the energy.
Yeah.
And the 2 areas that we focus on China and Taiwan.
Yeah, so we look at China and Taiwan as a focus. Yes, correct. Yeah, so let's move to the next chapter, which is investments. So how do we invest and what do we want to invest? So Dom, what are the investment ideas that you share with your clients?
I think before we talk about investment, right, we need to first of all familiar with the nature of the investment instruments first. Like what you invested in, what are the companies that you are invested in, and stuff like that. So if you know the company inside out, right, then if you invest in the company, you'll feel safer. Anything happen, you'll know immediately, stuff like that. So I think let me share with you what I share with my client. Usually I categorize investment into 2 different types. So very simple, long-term and short-term investment. Okay. So what's the difference between long-term and short-term investment? Is that long-term investment is something that you want to invest over like more than 3 years, or you need to hold even longer than 3 years. Short-term investment are those like you wanted to hold 2 years or lesser. Okay, let me show you a graph that I share with my client. Just one moment. Okay. So this graph I get it from one of our partners, Shoulders. Okay. So as you can see from the graph, right, the degree of risk decreases as the investment horizon increase. Hence, if your risk tolerance is low, you can consider the long-term investment, which is actually at 0.1% risk. So, like people want to save for their retirement funds and stuff like that, or people who are more their B-tongue is very they want to go short-term investment, and then 40% risk is actually okay for them. It's not even it means nothing to them. So they are okay to go for short term. Then maybe you can consider short term. So these 2 investment, right, actually depends on your own goals. I think my client goals. So when they are young, sometimes it's a mixture of between short term and long term. But when you're reaching like maybe like 30 plus or so, it's time for you to think about retirement, and maybe a long term goal will be a better one. Short term one is like people who intend to like buy a house or put down loans for their cars and stuff like that. Yeah. So let me show you something. So other than this, right, there's one more. Let's see, So if my client, let me find another one.
Yeah. So now that you shared this shoulder thing, and let's say this is one of the questions that some of my clients ask me. I'm sure your clients also ask you these questions. Is now I got some spare cash or excess capital.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what strategy should I use, or what do I need to do?
Yeah, it's actually quite a common question. Like people have the money right now, sitting down in the bank doing nothing with the interest rate, or maybe a very low interest rate. So I say, okay, what can I do with the money and stuff like that? So actually, I share with my client with this graph that is showing people who can invest with one lump sum versus a strategy that we actually often use it. It's a very this strategy is called dollar cost averaging. It's a very basic strategy, but it's known to be very efficient. So I shall name the lump sum investor as Mr. Lam, and the investor that is using dollar cost averaging, the DCA, I call her Miss La. So but this scenario is actually both of them have a capital of 110,000 over 11 weeks. So I can see from the first week on the 18th of February, Miss Dollar invested 10,000, whereas Mr. Lam, he invested at one lump sum of 110,000. So Miss Dollar is actually, she's putting 10,000 every single week until 27 April. So with the lump sum investment of 110,000, Mr. Lam, at the end of 11 weeks, right, he actually made a loss at the ending with a 93,000. Where Miss Dollar is actually making a profit at the 11 weeks. It's actually at 114,000. So be it the volatility of the market, you actually don't need to time the market and say, oh, which one is the lowest and stuff. So Miss Dollar just every month put in every week put in 10,000, 10,000, 10,000, 10,000. So he don't even worry about I need to watch which time or what time to put in the money and stuff. So this even like this, right? She managed to bring down the average price per share. On top of that, she also achieved a high returns. So that's why I will say that dollar cost averaging, especially during this current time, which the market fluctuate a lot recently. So it's the best to actually adopt this strategy lah. Okay. Or let me give you another example. Let's say Lester. Okay. Lester want to save up for his retirement. So he's like, let me give you, let's see whether I can. Okay. So he's putting in $500 every month. And so far, during until April, his invested amount is about 2,000. So I can see the stock price change as according for January $10, February $250. So with the $500, on January he only managed to buy 50 shares. But for February, because of the price drop, he managed to buy 200 shares. So all in all, during these 4 months, right, he managed to buy 492 shares out of his $2,000. But if he hear those people say that, my friend say, hey, this one January very good, must put in the all money. So he put in money on January. If he put all his 2,000 on January, he only can buy 200 shares, which the average price per share is at $10. So if like this, right, his money have to work harder for him to break even, or for the market to go back to $10.
Yeah, so now everybody knows I can only put aside 500 a month.
That's example.
Yeah, okay. So normally, my clients also will ask this. I'm sure you also meet questions like that. So we have shared all these things. We have shared the COVID situation. We have shared what are the different stages countries are at, and then also what are the governments doing. So knowing all these things, so some of my clients also ask me this question: is knowing all that we know, should we wait or not? Instead of just investing now, should we just wait, stay out of the market?
So let me ask you one question. Can you afford to wait or not? Why would I say that? I always show my client this chart that is, let me show you another one. Okay, it's actually a very, very simple chart. This one. Okay. So let's say your annual investment is actually 12,000. And then you intend to save for 10 years with an annual interest rate of 6% and retire at 65. So like Lester, he intends to start investing since he's at 30s now. So at the end of 65, he managed to get back about retire about with amount of about 760,000.
But
he said, let me wait for a while. I think 手头有点紧. I think a bit tight. So let me save up for another 10 years first. Then I start investing. So next, so if he started to save for his retirement fund at age 40, right, he will get back at age 65 about 420,000. Not so bad, still almost $500,000. So, but everybody say that time equals to money. So he wasted these 10 years. So this 10 years cost him about 330,000. To me, I find it very painful.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And then if even he want to say, I never thought of retirement. Until 50 years old, I decided to, I want to retire and I have to plan something out. So he started to invest at age of 50. So at age of 65, because due to the time constraint, his investment cannot accumulate as much as if he starts 30. So he only get back, he only retire with an amount of like $230. 230,000, sorry. 230,000. So it's like,
very cham, bro.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know, can last how long? Maybe 2 years. Then 60s, and you reach your 60s, you wanted to go back to the working society. I doubt so, but so and then not only that, so the 20 years of time he wasted, right? It's cost him about $500,000.
Yeah.
So
a bit painful.
I usually ask my client, can you afford to throw away that $500,000?
Yeah. I won't, but yeah. Okay.